Hi, this is Mr. Moser. I'm going to show you how to do the drug-free zones analysis. So what I've done so far is I've added the Houston shapefile. I've added the schools file. The schools file can actually be found in the Houston data geodatabase. And then if you notice over here in my table of contents, there's a thing there that says narcotics crimes. All I did was I added the crimes shapefile that I used to create my kernel densities and then did a select by attributes where I found the offense to be a narcotics crime. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to find schools that have crimes within a 1,000-foot area around the school. So in order to do that, I'm going to need to go ahead and buffer my schools. So schools buffer 1. My linear unit is 1,000 feet. And we'll do a dissolve type all. All right, so my buffer is done. You're really not going to be able to see it at this extent, so we'll go ahead and we'll zoom in. Zoom in a little bit, you can see that here is a 1,000-foot buffer around each of these schools. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to select crimes that intersect with those buffers. So we're going to do a selection by location. We're going to select from narcotics crimes that intersect the source layer feature. So we'll click OK. And there they are. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll export those. We'll call them crimes in drug-free zone. And yes, we'll add them. So now we can actually get rid of these narcotics crimes. And now what we're going to do is we're going to actually spatially join these crimes to the schools so we can get a list of our top 10 schools. So I want to join to the schools, so that's what I right-click on. So we're going to do a join. Spatial location, crimes in DFZ. We want the sum. And we'll say schools with DFZ crimes. And what we'll be able to do here is we'll open up the attribute table and we'll be able to see the count. And this is, make sure we sort descending. Boom. Right here are our top 10 schools that have crimes within that drug-free zone. So what you can do is you can go here, shift and select it. So I've got the top 10 selected. And then I can bring that into Microsoft Excel. Now I brought this whole thing into Microsoft Excel so I could paste so here I right click here and I'm going to copy selected, go into Excel, and then I can paste it. This is what came in originally. I pared it down to this. So it's the name of the school and the drug crimes in the drug-free zone. What I then did was I copied this and brought it over into Microsoft Word and created a nice little table out of it, which we'll use here in a minute. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to select all of the schools to where you have at least one crime in the drug-free zone. So we'll do select by attributes, count greater than 0, apply. So we'll go ahead and export that data. schools with one DFZ crime. And yes, we'll add it to the map. So now I'll close this out. I'll get rid of this. I will get rid of this schools buffer. I will get rid of these schools. So all that's left now is I have these schools with one DFZ crime, and I've got the crimes in the DFZ. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and buffer these schools. So we'll go geoprocessing, buffer those schools. We're going to create the drug-free zone. So we'll do the drug-free zone schools buffer 1. It's going to be 1,000 feet. Dissolve type, we'll go ahead with all again. Now what I've got is I've got these buffers that are already taken care of. So here I have these schools with one drug-free zone crime. Before you publish this, you might want to rename these things so they show up better in a legend. And the last thing I want to go ahead and add, I'm going to go to full extent here. The last thing I want to add is I want to add my narcotics kernel density. So there's a narcotics kernel density, and you can symbolize it however you like, classify it. Natural breaks, 5, okay. Change these labels to low, low, medium, medium, high, medium, high. Me, for kernel densities, I prefer, this is just my own personal choice, the green to red. Okay, we can make it a little bit transparent. Okay, so now we've got the Houston city limits. We have our schools with one crime. We have the crimes themselves in the DFZ, but you know what? We really probably don't even need that because we've got our top 10. So we can actually remove that. And we can symbolize these a little differently, however you'd like. You can change those symbols once you get it into Arc Online. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a file and do a share as. I'm going to do a service. I'm going to publish a service. Now, like I said before in the other video, since I have a raster in here, my capabilities have to be both tiled mapping and feature access. My item description, it's not going to be the main page. This is the drug-free school zone analysis. Got my tags, I'm good. Sharing, share it with everyone in the organization, or you just keep it on your own. I would just keep it on your own. Analyze it, make sure we're good. No big red X's, so I'm good. Close that, and we'll publish. So once it's all finished, I get this service publishing result. Service has been published successfully. Click OK. And now I can minimize that. And we will find our crime analysis. So what I need to do is I need to go back to my content. I'll go to page 1. And here is my DFZ Schools Houston. So here's my tile layer, here's my feature layer. So if I were to add this tile layer to a new map, so here I've got the schools and I have the kernel density. Now let me go back here to my content. And I want to see what happens here when I just add the feature layer. All right, so just adding the feature layer, I don't get the kernel density, which is not that big of a deal for this. However, we want to make sure that that's there. So we'll add this tile layer to the map. So now I've got all of them. So I have the schools with one drug-free zone crime. I also have the buffer. I have Houston itself, and then here is the kernel density for narcotics. So what we can do is we'll change the name of this to narcotics density. Okay, you can change all these names, which is fine. We'll do a file, we'll save as. Drug-free zone analysis, tags again, BWHS, making spatial decisions, save map. Then what you would do here, obviously, is you're going to add a section. Drug-free zone analysis. We're going to add a web map. Oh, there it was. Drug-free zone analysis. Legend, good. Next. All right, so now here is where we can go ahead and see if we can add this table that we created. So we'll copy it. And we'll paste. So here is our table, and we can actually say top 10 Houston, Texas schools with crimes in their drug-free zone. So we add it. So here is our map. And obviously, you know, with the legend, you'll bring this down, and this will actually show what these symbols mean. You can change the symbols in Arc Online before you save it. But then here is a table that shows which of these schools is the top 10. So you actually have added a table. If you wanted to, if you had a JPEG, you could actually add an image in here. But so you've done this this analysis, and you figured out which 10 schools have the most drug-related crimes in their drug-free zone. And again, obviously, you would save it when you're finished, and that's how you would go about doing that final page and the analysis that goes with it.